Great. Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. Many thanks for joining us during your lunch, and we do appreciate it. We're absolutely delighted to welcome a company that needs no introduction to ourselves in the Careers and Employability Centre here in DkIT, Controlsoft. And we're joined by Billy Curran, who is the engineering manager at Controlsoft. Controlsoft have a number of DkIT graduates currently employed. They are a big supporter of our placement programs, and I was on a recent program board in the development of a new program here at DkIT where Controlsoft were also contributing as well. So they really are, I suppose, an integral part of what we're doing at DkIT, and we're absolutely delighted, as I said, to be joined by Billy today to present on the company itself and potentially the types of opportunities you might expect at Controlsoft. So Billy, without further ado, take it away, and you're really welcome.
Yeah, thanks very much, Anthony. Yeah, look, I'm quite new to Controlsoft. I started in November. I'm the engineering manager here. We have a team of about 30 guys here, mixed skills and disciplines. The Controlsoft is typically broken up into 4 different divisions, where we have the software team, we have the automation team, we have an electrical team, and then we do a lot of simulation. So we have a wide scope of talent here in the company itself, and probably where we started off as an automation company, we started to realise fairly quickly that software was an integral part of it. And then with a lot of our customers, they were also looking for us to supply the software, the programming, the automation, and then we've opened up another division, which is the electrical division. And we build a panel, a bespoke panel with the HMI and the PLC. So we're giving them a turnkey solution for what they're looking for. So I have a company presentation here. It's relevant to most of the people that are here, but I'm not going to go too deep into it. I'm going to skip over because what's relevant to some might be boring to others. So I'll just go through the presentation. Should take me about 10 or 15 minutes. A quick little video after that, and then if you have any questions, hopefully I'll be able to answer them for you. Is that okay? So,
Billy, thanks a lot. Go ahead.
Okay, so the agenda in this here is the overview of the industries we serve, service breakout, projects, customers, partners, the future of what we're trying to do here. I have a couple of case studies of projects that we have done, and then we have the development and methodology and questions and answers at the end. So again, I won't dive too much into each of them. Look, Controlsoft was founded in 2007 by Dermot Carroll and Peter McGinnity. We're located in Dundalk on the Coast Road, which is about 2 miles away from the DkIT. We currently just have over 30 employees, and we're looking to grow that. We probably see at the end of the year it'll be closer to 40 then, and probably next year it'll be in the region of 45 to 50. So we have growth in the business. We have capacity in the business, and this is probably why we're teaming up with DkITs to talk about graduates and undergraduates. The management structure is Dermot and Peter are the owners. Joe McGill is the technical officer. Paul Martins is the chief technical officer. And combined, we probably have 50 years experience. I'm the engineer manager. So we've a good team that is leading a team of about 25 people of various disciplines. The industries we serve, the data centers is something that's grown. We've done a lot of them here in Ireland and in Denmark and a couple in the UK, but they're looking for EPMS systems and monitoring systems just to make sure that everything is. So we've worked alongside, you'll see it later on in the slideshow, who we've worked with, we've worked with Google and a lot of good high-end data centers, and they keep coming back, which is always a good sign for us. Life science and pharma, process control, automation, reporting, robotics and automated machines. This has grown really strong over the last couple of years, where people are looking for automated reporting and looking for live reporting rather than waiting at the end of a shift. But there are also robotics and automation is something it's growing, and I think probably COVID has probably helped that to grow. So building products, line control, machine control and safety systems. We do a lot with food and bev, but we're in the building industry as well. So we have the capability going in and looking at a system, looking at how it's running, and come back with some ideas of how it would run better. You know, a lot of machinery is in a straight line and looks like a straight line, but it's not really controlled. It's not fully automated. So I'm pretty much every time you break into a machine, there's a safety system of some sort that needs to be. We do a risk assessment, and then we come back and add safeties to it, or integrate safeties in it to upskill. We're involved a bit with the water industry. BWT is a company we've done a lot of work with, and then we do a lot of wastewater treatment plants as well. So it's steady business for us, and we've done a lot of work with it, so we're comfortable in that area. And then marine floating fish factories, where we have factories that we have boats that are obviously out in the sea, and they're running mainly refrigeration. So they're essentially a big freezer, and we're looking after the refrigeration end of it, the programming and anything associated with it. And then the automated survey, the USV, I have a little case study on that. I'll speak later in the slide about it, but it's unmanned boats that are pretty much going around and surveying the ocean floor. So we are a big part of that, rolling out that project with the company. I'll speak about it later on. Food and beverage, line control, machine control, and process control. Yeah, we're doing this. This is our bread and butter. We're doing a lot of this, and it's a case of we go down and we look and do a front end study in the factory, and we look at what they're doing and where they need to get to, and then we come back after the front end study, and we'll show them where the failings are in our process, and then give them a solution how to make it more productive. So it's usually machines either side of a machine that are not talking upstream and downstream of each other. We've just put a little bit of automation in there, a little bit of monitoring and process control, and it usually gives a payback is quite quickly in most of the applications. Services breakout. We have a full automated system design. PLC coding is, again, it's something that we do every day here. HMI coding, again, very similar. Or we've kind of noticed that, you know, we look at somebody's PLC code that might historically be there 5 or 10 years, and we look at it and review it, and we can probably get more out of that system by upgrading it and rewriting the code, and they get more out of it, and to get better payback on it. SCADA systems, we've done multiple SCADA systems in various different applications, and we've customers coming to us weekly now looking for SCADA systems to be set up. Safety systems, I talked about it earlier on. There's almost not a day goes past where we're working in an environment where we have to go in and make changes. So everything in the world we're living in now is, you know, safety related. So if there's not a safety system in there, we're part of that discussion of the reads. We integrate it and make sure that it is what it is when we leave it, and it is still a safety system. So historian and analytics is more and more. A lot of factories need to be able to store this. It was typically done paper, but when it's gone into the cloud now. So we're working alongside various industries doing that. Business intelligence reporting and documentation, again, similar but different, but principle being the same, that we're working alongside industries doing that. Industrial network design, I have a slide in that. I'll show you it later on, but it's, you know, with every job we set up a network architectures to show the customer what we're setting out to do, and then as the projects roll out and as we do the FAT at the end, we're able to show them this is what we set out to do, this is what we've achieved, and there's no miscommunication. It's kind of it's good for part of the job itself. Electrical plans, this division we're growing. We have 3 apprentices and an electrician on our site now at the moment. We say that a lot of what we do is software and automation, and we've grown this because we want to be a turnkey solution for the customer. So we've taken ownership of the panels, and we build and design panels and put our own safety systems in, or put the customer safety systems in. System optimization, again, it's looking at the process and making sure it's running at its best, and then or coming back with solutions to where we see the bottlenecks in it. Of robotics and machine building. I have a little video that I'll show you right at the end of the slideshow, where we're partnered up with Kuga, which is a local robotics company here in Dundalk. We've done a lot of various jobs for different people, and it's something we do every day, and it's something where we see huge growth in with robotics and cobotics. Legacy systems and migrations. Again, different industries have different requirements, so we do it, and we do it on a minor scale at the moment, but it's growing. Consultancy is something that's we have been doing over the last 3 years, and we are very good at it. A lot of companies will set out and they know what they want to do, but you just don't know how to get there. So they'll bring us in as a consultancy, and we speak them through. We have meetings with them and go through the various steps that they need to go through to get to where they want to be. So they mightn't fully understand what they need between A and B, but we're the bit that comes in and says, this is probably the right path for you guys to go on, based on our knowledge. And then training, we have a lot of different customers will come back to us and ask us to come in and do in-house training, or maybe a bit of Rockwell Siemens. We have training skids here in our own premises, or we go out to site and we do a bit of training with the people in that. It's usually factories. Or the services breakout is product development. So we're using a lot of various tools, depending on, some of them are led by ourselves and some of them would be led by the customer. But they're there on the right, and you probably recognise a lot of them. But it's something that's growing more and more. We spoke there about mobile cloud solutions. We've enhanced visualization, augmented and digital twin. That's kind of driven. We consult with people and we come up with a solution for either or. Intelligence, process control. Artificial intelligence is something that's starting to grow. It can be used in certain applications, but not in every application. So it's about finding what's right for them. So a lot of the bigger companies are starting to look at that and realize that there's certain applications that can get really, really well, can be done really well, but there's others that just they can't be captured, or it's just too expensive to do it. On-demand reports, real-time data analytics, real-time operational dashboards. Most industries are looking for one or all of them, that they're getting live information, or they're able to dial in and see where they are at that moment in time. Some people prefer to have a flagging system or an automatic email or a dashboard to tell them where it is, so they don't have to go looking, it's already coming to them. But it's just to stop that when you get to the end of the day and you realize that you haven't performed well all day, it's giving them real-time information where they can react to that and hopefully get a better output from the day. These are some of the customers we have. We've Exocean and Mylan. As Exocean, I'll talk to you later on about. Mylan is pharmaceutical, Pfizer, MSD, Hanley Energy. We partnered up with Hanley Energy. We support them a lot. DkIT, Kerry Foods, Google, Intel, and Amazon. A few more here. We also have Abbott's, Kingspan, Dawn Farm, BWT, Bryan A. Flynn. So Bryan A. Flynn mainly been refrigeration on a lot of the vessels that we use, and some of the pharmaceutical industries. BWT would be the water and things. Dawn Farm would be food and bev, and Kingspan and Abbott. So Kingspan is sheets, so insulated sheets. Customers, Tegel, Diageo, MSD, Johnson & Johnson, Viola, ESB. So we have a quite big range of companies that keep on coming back. They're not one-off jobs, they're continuous jobs. Our partners are Rockwell Automation and Siemens, and that probably gives us, gives us the edge on our competitors, where we have huge accounts with these guys, and we're rolling out a lot of our hardware and software, and they're giving us a lot of support. They give us a lot on the training as well. And we have, and Kuka, again, I mentioned earlier on, the robots. they're doing a lot with us in the background as well. So we have a good team behind us. So we're Controlsoft is a team, and on its own, we have a team behind us that's able to give us support and up-to-date live information and training if needed be. Phoenix Contact is also another partner of ours. The future is to increase our business in specialist projects. So we are technically challenged and complex. We seem to take on jobs that people don't want to take on, and I think that's just something we like to challenge. But we have high value, high interest projects as well, and because a lot of it is in the background with data centers and reporting, and how do we get more out of the pharmaceutical side. Increasing our workforce to keep up with demand, and that's why we're here today. Is we see the team as a good team, but it needs to be grown because business is grown, but it needs to be it needs to be grown in proportion. So there's no point in us taking on huge amounts of work if we can't actually deliver what we're trying to deliver. So we need to build a team first before we go out and look for the extra work. So that's something what we've been doing with the colleges around Ireland for the last 6 to 8 years. So improving system and development efficiency, manufacture more in-house systems, machine building. We do machine building. I have a little video I'll show you at the end of this here, but it's quite impressive what we've done from a customer's inquiry to delivering it out hopefully next week. Develop our existing analytics capability. Software team is working on that at the moment, and showcase our previous capability to the marketplace and expand the previous. Develop more automated approach to the automation. So provide a suite for digitization. They're all just what we are looking at in the future. I'm just conscious that I could be losing the audience here, but it's relevant to some and not to all.
No, you're not losing the audience, Billy. Actually, more people have joined, so keep going. You're perfectly okay.
Okay, so we spoke earlier on about process digitization suite. This is just an example of what we send out to the customer. So, sometimes a picture is better than 1,000 words in my mind. So they can see what we're setting out to do here, and depending on who the user is, whether it be the engineer, will probably be on the left-hand side, and the guy that's on the production floor or he's in management is looking at the right-hand side of this here. This is the capabilities of what we're doing. We usually have one of these in every job that we set out to do. So as I said earlier on, everyone knows what we're setting out to do. The goals are clear, and when we deliver, we can go back and refer to this. So process digitization suite. Components within the suite are often designed and consolidated. Key features are common to most jobs and undertaken by Controlsoft. The suite harmonizes access to data and bringing the industrial Internet of Things to both the automation engineers and the software engineers. Embedded intelligence serves the maximum operational efficiency to reduce the potential of human error. And that's what we're trying to get. We're trying to get human error. We're trying to get rid of paper. We're trying to make things, seamless. Enhanced visualization serves to reduce time to the market and produce delivery costs. Development cycles are shortened through reuse of existing file data and reducing cost, scope, and risk. So, again, they can be all, different companies use them in different ways, but it's where everyone wants to go. Everyone wants to be automated, and everyone wants live data. So, this is just the digitization suite is the various ways of what we do. I'm not going to go through them all. I'll skip through. Sorry. I'll go back to this one. We have control, the automation, intelligence engine, and then we have control, the reality engine with the SCADA and HMI, the dashboard reporting, and data historian, then data backup and data historian, and then we have data collection. Sorry, I don't know. Yeah, we have data collection and data harmonizer or OPC server, data historian. Cost data analytics package, and simulation and validation digital twin. So we do a lot of simulation with different industries. When they're setting out to do a project, we can do a simulation of what they're setting out to do. And quite often what we see is what they think the bottleneck in the process is it comes out in the simulation, it's usually not what they think it is. It's something that's coming out of the simulation, and they realize then that it's not machine A, or it's not that process, that the focus should really be here. So while it is an added cost to the project to do it at the start, the wins in it are huge. That there's you're very much focused on where the bottlenecks are before you've identified the bottlenecks before you even start the project. So it's not for every customer because there's a cost on it, but it's a brilliant tool. These are 3 case studies here. X-Ocean are a company. We're involved with Open Hydro. We used to put what do we call it? They used to put underwater hydro. They used to try to create energy, and what was happening to them?
Tidal turbines, Billy. I used to work there.
Yeah. So what they noticed was the cost of getting the survey done was horrendous, and what they set out to do, X-Ocean set out to do, was put an unmanned vessel out there that could survey the ocean. So typically you'd send a team of 30 out in the boat, and they would walk around the clock to survey the ocean floor. What's now happening is to send, I think, 14 of these vessels, to send them out to anywhere in the world, and they can go and survey it. And there's a controller back in Greenock that's controlling them all around the world. So we had a lot to do with the design of the boats, the sonar, the satellite, and we give them a lot of support over there, and we still do to this day. So it's a success story, and we still have a good working relationship too, and that's an industry that is only going to grow. So, DkIT is an upgrade of a multi-PLC system in short duration, shutdown, implemented Scala with 0 clients using 10 management technology, implemented automated parameter downloading and recipe selection to loop controllers. We implemented weighing scales over serial connection with barcode and lot tracking. So this gives them visibility. It also meant that they weren't giving away too much on the scales, and we set it up in a way that it would alarm and wouldn't let you go to the next stage. And lot tracking is obviously massive at the moment. Implementing stories and redundancy data collection and report based on OSI soft PI. So install and configure server with malware, EXI, and Cisco switching, and a full documentation pack with FSD, HSD, FAT, IQ, and OQ. And then Xerox is the last case study I have for you guys. It's they came to us. They were gifted 2 robots from a partner, and we done a front end study, and we soon realised that the 2 robots working simultaneously were actually slower than a robot, buying a brand new robot. So we installed a new robot. They purchased a new robot on the basis of that front end study. And we designed and implemented the robot, done the installation of the safety PLC interaction with the robot, and risk assessment and CE marking. Sorry, I'll just plug this in. Sorry about that. So that was quite a good success story, and again, it's a repeat business that we're in Xerox, and we're doing a lot with Xerox year on year. So development methodology, teams utilize Scrum methodology. Scrum is big in Controlsoft. Team operates on a 2-week cadence, so each of our guys will meet every week with myself and Yvonne, and we'll give them 2 weeks ahead where they're going to be and what they're doing. So we work on projects and see where they are on timelines, and look and see if there's any bottlenecks or did they need any requirement or training to deliver it on time. So we use DevOps, which is it tracks our reports and checks our progress. That's it for the questions. That's really, it's an overview of what Controlsoft do. There's parts of it that are pretty deep, but at the same time, it might be relevant to more than others. If I have time, and I'm just conscious of time.
Go ahead, Billy. You're fine. Yeah, work away.
we have a little video here that I can play. And it's a machine we built. The customer came to us and asked us, could we syringe back? And we went from concept to delivering this. We're 2 weeks away from delivering this here. So I'm just because of time, I'm going to bring it up to the actual machine itself. I'll let it play here. So it's a syringe packing machine. The customer came to us. It's a manual process at the moment, and they want us to make it automated. So we've completely designed this machine from scratch, and you can see the robot. So every part of this machine is
Billy, sorry, there's nothing else we can see is your presentation. So maybe you want to share that window or
yeah. Share. Yeah, right.
Perfect.
Yeah, so the company came and asked us, could we, it's a manual process here, and the syringes are being filled by hand and being formed by a box by operators at the moment. We took that concept, went out to the market, had a look, and we've an iTrack system that's an off-the-shelf iTrack. We've 4 robots there that we bought off the shelf, and pretty much after that, everything else is on our own. So we've designed the box form, and at the start of it, that's down with the owner of the company. And what this machine is deliverable into the customer in the next 2 weeks. So what it's done for that company is it's taken 12 people off the line, and it's given them a fully automated system that it's not about taking people off the line. It's a win to get to buy the machine. But what the biggest thing for them is we have a camera system in here that will look at every box and make sure that the data sheets and the wipes are put into it. So every box has to go out to the customer 100% right. It's veterinary, it's the industry they're in, but it's deemed to be pharmaceutical. So we have vision system cameras that are in there checking it twice. So the big win in this is that they're delivering a perfect box to the customer every time. So they're not getting any feedback, any negative feedback from the customer. They're delivering this out all over the world. Their line speed was 150. It's gone up to 300. So they're taking 12 people out. They're now doubling the production, and it's 100% identifiable and traceable with any customer around the world. So it's a pretty impressive bit of kit, and it's something we're very proud of. And this is kind of an example of where our Controlsoft are now and where they want to grow into. So it's another division that we're working alongside the electrical team. So I think that's it. I'll stop.
That's impressive. Billy, listen, thanks very, very much. Brilliant presentation. I think what my takeaway is there's nothing white label about Controlsoft. It all seems to be very bespoke. You know, across all the industries and the sectors that you're involved in, and great to see that you're working with so many local companies as well, because we recognise all those names. They've all been on site with us here in DkIT, KUKA, X-Ocean, obviously, Xerox up the road. So they're all sort of, you know, people we know as well. So I think students should be looking at that going, and, you know, potentially looking at if they're staying local for their first graduate role, that should be a real attraction, you know, that they could get to work with large local companies like yourselves, locally ran and managed, but with global impact, you know, which I think is really impressive. I have some questions. Elaine, I don't know if you have any questions to start.
Yeah, I mean, thanks, Billy. That was great. It's, you know, obviously I've got Controlsoft on my, well, we've had placement students, and I know that you're dealing with some placement students coming up for some interviews. So, but it's always great to see, as Anthony has said, the names, what you do, and it's just really, really exciting. I suppose, I don't know if I'm going to be preempting any questions here, but if you could, number one, what would be your target market graduate wise? What kind of background would you like your graduates to come from? What is the biggest need you have? And number two, could you give us any insight into what are the kind of attributes that you would like to see from students? Let's say there's a shortfall in technical ability. Are there any other attributes that you'd like to see that would certainly be an attractive selling point for Controlsoft?
Yeah, well, I suppose what we do is software and automation are the two core pieces of what we do. But we have mechanical as well. So I know for me, the software team is about to grow. It's a small team at the moment. Automation is the core business for us, but it's not limited. What Controlsoft is not limited to any one. So we have guys that have come in here and want to be an automation engineer, and after 12 months have kind of come into us and said, listen, it's great, but I think my growth is here. And that's allowed us to go make a business decision and say, yeah, that's a department we're growing into. So now you're trained in that, and now you're moving into the mechanical end of things, or vice versa. So we probably, automation and software was where we'd like to grow or where we feel the need is, but mechanical engineering is probably where the likes of the machine building, and they'll dovetail in with the electrical, where we're taking on projects once we grow that team in. I suppose the beauty of what Controlsoft do here is, if we have a guy and they come in and they're kind of struggling in here, we have skids in here that we're able to train people up. So a lot of what we've done over the last 6 years is there's undergraduates coming in here and we're training them. And as long as they have the appetite to train, it's not about them walking in the door with all the knowledge in their head. As long as the appetite to train and upskill and hopefully retain that information, then that's a fit for us. It's about us teaching them and growing their confidence and their skill set, that they're able to go out on site and build and execute what they're setting out to do.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you.
Great. I have a more practical question, I suppose, around the actual application process. Now, Billy, I know this may not be your area, but I know all the opportunities, your current opportunities, are up on the website. And I know that you also put them up on our own careers platform, Careers Connect, as well. So I'm just going to tell students to look out both on your, I'll pop a link up as well with this video just to the website. I think there's a couple of opportunities up there as well. But for students who may be unsure, about where, as you said, where the best fit might be, what would your advice be? Just to send in a CV speculatively to the company and see where they go from there?
Well, ideally, when we're looking through CVs, we'd like to kind of know where that guy wants to fit. So, okay. We have a guy coming in, he sends the CV out, and I'd say the CV into us, and we read it that he's really into automation, and then he decides 2 days into it that he's not. We'd kind of like that guy to have a little bit of commitment that his CV is skewed that way, and that's where he thinks at that moment in time that's where he wants to be. So we'd like to get them in and kind of have a bit of structure, rather than somebody coming in and feeling it out over 4 or 6 weeks. And we find that he kind of get lost. They don't know which plate to spin, and then they leave with nothing really. What we do, what we have a good record is, if somebody knows what they want to be, we come in, we train, we teach, to spend 8 weeks with us, they enjoy it, they learn something, and then when they leave, they say, well, if we think they were strong enough candidate, there is future jobs. And the bit that I spoke about is, we probably see us growing from 30 people up to 45, 50 people within the next 18 to 50. So these guys are in college now. There's placement for people right now, and there's placement for people in the next 18 months. So I don't know if that answers your question.
It does, yeah, it does. And then with your engineering manager hat on, and maybe thinking back to yourself as an undergraduate, what one piece of advice would you give any either engineering soon-to-be graduate or software engineering soon-to-be graduate? What one piece of advice would you give them in relation to their career?
Look, there's no doubt about it. For me, you need to have an open mind, but it's the willingness to learn. It's the willingness to learn, whether it's relevant to what you're doing right now, or to just show somebody that you're willing to learn something that probably doesn't feel relevant at this moment in time, but it will dovetail along with something that will come up in the future. So from my own experience, you know, I came from an electrical background and then went into engineering and here I'm in a software and automated company. It's just me. That's the kind of way I've learned is to embrace everything that's in front of you, but don't dismiss anything. It's a very much a learning environment in here, and as long as that person, whoever it is, comes in here and have an open mind and want to learn and show us that they can, you know, they'll fit in right, you know.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, brilliant. Have we any questions from any of our students online? Feel free to unmute yourself or the chat.
Sorry, I had a wee question.
Kristen, go ahead, thanks.
So for each of your divisions, you were saying about automation, electrical, and design. Would there be crossover between each of the divisions, or would the work each division would be carried out? Would there be quite strict boundaries, if that kind of makes sense?
No, it's a good question, because most places, like our competitors, are very strict in this. You know, you're either a software guy or you're an automation guy. But we have automation guys that are part of the electrical team or work very closely with the electrical team. We've mechanical guys that are cross-trained and they do a bit of automation, a bit of programming. So it's not restricted to one, but we'd like them to start in one area and kind of, I'm not going to say master, because I don't think you'll ever master, you know, what we do, but get it to a level that we're comfortable with. And then we have that discussion and we say, right, we want to keep you very strong in this, or we need you to migrate and help a division from time to time. But I think that's
No problem, thank you.
Thanks, Tristan. Anybody else before we let Billy go and have his cup of coffee and sandwich? We've taken up 40 minutes of his time already.
Yeah, hi Billy, Murthy here, and I'm a student of Masters in Data Analytics. So could you, I haven't attended from the starting of my session due to this, my class. And so could you please tell me what is the scope of Master students in Data Analytics?
I'm not sure if you got that. So that was a master's student in data analytics here at DkIT, and I'm wondering if maybe there's an opportunity for that discipline with Controlsoft.
Yeah, we're in it. It was part of my slideshow. It's something that we're growing here. So if the right person's out here, he can come in and work alongside the team here. The software team is kind of heading up that. So yeah, we would look into that. It's something that we're looking to grow.
Perfect. Thanks a million.
Okay, thanks.
No worries. Anybody else? No, perfect. Okay, listen, Billy, thanks so much for your time. Brilliant presentation. Took a huge amount away from it. Thanks to Elaine and Paul and my colleagues and Sandra just for organising those rooms. And lastly, many thanks to all the students for joining us online. As I said, keep an eye on our own Careers Connect platform and on Controlsoft's own website for the opportunities. And Billy, just a massive thank you again. It was a great presentation.
Yeah, just saying, it's last thing. If anyone's looking for the CV, it's careers@controlsoft.ie. You probably have it already.
We'll pop it up. We have that on the system anyway. Yeah, perfect.
Thanks a million, Billy.
Thanks,
Bye. Bye. Bye.